don't turn your back on the body system or the emotional body system on this journey. We almost are led to believe, or we're inclined to think, that awakening has everything to do with mind qualities, the reaching for the highest, reaching for the awareness, reaching for the insight, reaching for the exalted state of being. And that's really it. But if the body system, and by body system I mean the energy body system ultimately, but also the body system itself, and the emotional body system, if that hasn't been in some way prepared, then the light of awareness, the light of awakened realization can't seem to enter and inhabit and abide in the lived experience, because the lived experience, the energy system, the body system, the emotional nervous system, the emotional system itself, is still so dense with the accumulated stuff of the past, the accumulated density of that which has not been digested within the system, the whole system. Then light can't penetrate and abide in the lived experience, which means that the awakening or the realization ends up in a kind of dislocated way with us. It's not lived, so it's realized, but it's not embodied. And that's what embodiment means ultimately, to be in the lived experience, to enter into the lived experience. And this is a problem in some ways, which is why in this video I'm speaking to the importance of attending to the emotional, energetic body system, which covers the whole range of our human experience, from the foods we eat, the lifestyle we're living, the tightness in the body, the digestive system and how well it's working, our addiction to sugars or carbohydrates or fatty things, or addiction to substance or alcohol or smoking or eating or obsessive ways of being, which all have a deep psychology but also have a physical manifestation within them. The chakra system, which is a fundamental system in us. I'm not a chakra expert, but I've done a lot of work, both within myself and working with other people on this, the need to get the energy moving in the body, from the root to the top crown and all areas in between. And that involves, because it's got a correlate in our digestive system. And so to get that root chakra going, to get the root of us open and feeling alive and grounded in here, and the raw power of life force, and to get the emotional center going, the sacral chakra, to get the fire of us in the solar plexus, to get the heart moving, and to get the expression through the throat chakra in line. And then to be able to see clearly, these are all interdependent. all interrelated within with each other. And to get the whole of the digestive system started to be sorted out, to get the energy moving in the system. And this is a direct relationship with our emotions. Unless those emotions are starting to get shaken up, loosened up and released, then the light of realization can't enter the entire system. And so it ends up being dissatisfying, or a mental realization. And there are a lot of people out there who are having these mental realizations, and actually it just becomes opinion, it just becomes belief, it just becomes, seeing without living. And seeing it without living it is dissatisfying because it hasn't gone the whole way. But if you're on the journey, and some of the spiritual stuff that goes around, and the lure and appeal of awakening, whatever that might mean to you, is strong within you, don't turn your back on the body. Don't turn your back on the lived experience. Don't turn your back on the emotions. Neither fixate on them. But they do need to be attended to at some point. They do. I know this. Amoda, my wife, knows this. We both have done our work in different ways. And it's not something to turn into... the trouble is these days, in many ways, we're turning everything into a system. We're turning everything into a practice. We're turning everything into a how do I do that, and what are the steps, and what are the practical tips for doing such a thing. And that's okay, and that's, kind of what's happening. But we're much more, as human beings, much more alive and much more vibrant, in many ways much more chaotic or much more fluid than that. We don't fit into a box. You're not going to get an ABC that really works in terms of liberation. You can't ABC your way to freedom. You can't ABC your way to enlightenment. It doesn't work like that. It could quite easily be A, Z, C, W, N, going round and round. It just doesn't work on the rational level. And that's not to throw away any of those methodologies or practices, but to realize that actually everything is alive within you. And to not turn your back on that aliveness, because it's the aliveness, the energy flowing, that needs to happen. And you get to that and release that and find that and attend to that as best you can, in whatever way you can. You find a body worker, you find a therapist, you find some catharsis, you find a rebirther. You start to, do some fasting. You start to clear up your house. You attend to the liver. The liver, the great storage of anger and bile, the bile system. You clean up your digestive system by eliminating toxic foods. Most people have problems in the digestive system, creating all sorts of foggy stuff for the brain and compromised immune systems. And this is all, we would rather think that, but what's that got to do with awakening? And it's, so in many ways, nothing. I mean, you can have your awakening. Excellent. It's fantastic. If that kind of happens. But then at a certain point it does have to become a lived experience. So attend to the lived experience. If awakening is so elusive at the moment, attend to the lived experience, attend to the body. Clean up those emotions. Stuck emotions are a great source of suffering. Trauma stuck in the system is a great source of suffering, and it takes courage and surrender and willingness and some fire and a great, great, great desire, great longing. That's what really carries you. If the longing is super strong in you, and the really the I will do anything to clear this up. Not just thinking about it, but actually from the deep will within you. I will do something about this, and I will grant myself the gift of freedom by clearing my house, by sorting out those relationships, by sorting out this relationship within myself, by sorting out how I just cling hold of the past and I just can't let it go because it still seems to be living in me and I still feel like a victim of it. And I will decide that it's time that I really started to let this go somehow. And that might involve some catharsis, and you find that cathartic system or that cathartic way, whatever it is, wherever you are, whatever country you're in, whatever town you're in, wherever you are, there's always something. You can find something. You have to look, you have to search, you have to look up through the internet and sniff it out and be led by your intuition and guidance, and trust yourself that you're on a path where you're actually doing something for yourself, not just searching in bewilderment. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do doesn't get anybody anywhere. Start somewhere. Start wherever you are. Start within your house. Start within your fridge. Start within how you're treating your body system, how you're treating your nervous system. We're either victims of our nervous system or we become masters of our nervous system. And I know that's a tough call, but it's absolutely true. For the sensitive people, for the people on the path, for the ones who want to heal, for the ones who are on a spiritual path. We're either victim of that nervous system because it's still playing itself out, and then we're just stuck whenever it goes, when it goes off, like a bang, or else we start to enter our lived experience. And it does take courage and fire and power, and that's what you find on the way. You don't need it to begin. You don't need these qualities to begin the journey. You need to begin the journey, and the journey reveals the qualities because of the doing on the path. It's a very different way of seeing it. So it's like there are a lot of people waiting to find the qualities of courage or strength or surrender or your willingness or whatever it is, or openness, or any of these kind of words that only mean something when you're on your way, in a way, waiting for those qualities before I do something. But that's not how it works. You do something, and then qualities reveal themselves in the doing. That's the forging of us on the path. We get forged. We get forged by the doing. We get forged by the discomfort. We get forged by our pain. We get forged by our suffering. We get forged by the heat of the detoxification. We get forged. Then something fresh starts to happen. A number of times I remember all of that experience during the many, many years of illness, for instance, and catharsis, and getting, cleaning this part of myself and getting stuck in this bit. And then there'd be a movement, there'd be some shift, or there'd be some purgation, or there'd be some, very difficult experiences. But there'd be like a freshness afterwards, a freshness after the storm. But because I was willing, I didn't have any choice because I was really ill. It's great when you don't have a choice. Well, you do have two choices. I had two choices. Suppress it through medication or deal with it in a natural way, in a way that supports it, in a way that facilitates the deconstruction or the cleansing or the healing. And I chose that one. And it was a longer path, because it still is a life path. But it meant that I was no longer suppressing what was inside, because we do that. We suppress what is inside us because it's too painful and it brings up too much fear. But we have to really make sure that suppressing what is inside us doesn't just become our lifelong pattern, because it doesn't lead to joy and it doesn't lead to freedom. So to really see that inner suppression, which we've probably done, which we did for a long time because it helped us survive, is now no longer helping us survive. It's become our prison guard. These are all the qualities, or everything that I've talked about in this video is everything to do with, working with and loving and supporting the body system, the immune system, the nervous system, the emotional body system, to start cleaning itself up, because it makes some more space within us. And when there's space within us and there's availability within us, then insight enters the lived experience. Insight, awareness, intuition comes back online, enters the lived experience. Otherwise it's locked out of the lived experience and it remains a bypassed way, a bypassed thought or belief or something that has no real power in it, has no real depth in it. So really pay attention to it. Love it. Love yourself. Love yourself so much you're willing to do whatever it takes. That's it.